Bavarian Alpine upland, formed by glaciers and surrounded by the majestic Alps. Home to a living jewel, the Eurasian kingfisher. This small sparrow-sized bird is fond of warm weather and fish. So how is it that this tiny creature can survive here? Rising up 4,810 meters, the Alps are the most impressive mountain range of Europe. For more than 10,000 years, glaciers slowly eroded the mountains, creating new landforms in the Alpine foothills. The picturesque scenery inspired awe, not just the Bavarian kings and poets. For more than 2,000 years, this Alpine upland had been cultivated. Ice and men sculpted the Bavarian countryside. Temperatures here can dip to -15 degrees Celsius, freezing rivers and lakes, creating hard times for those who depend on open water. The mute swan is strictly vegetarian and feeds on aquatic plants. But vegetation is difficult to find at this time of the year. By the end of January, the short winter days become bitterly cold. Snow covers most of the region. In this icy desert, food is scarce. Ravens are quick to spot an opportunity. He follows the trail. Hungry and exhausted, the fox has succumbed to the cold. Late winter is always a good season for scavengers. Common ravens are omnivorous and highly opportunistic. They thrive on those that winter has killed. They eat only the soft meat and leave the tougher parts for others. Ravens mate with one partner for life. Their location and treasure has been discovered. With open water frozen over, the white-tailed eagle resorts to scavenging. With a wingspan of almost 2.5 meters, it's one of the largest eagles in the world. It sometimes will even prey on ravens. But the raven's safety lies in numbers. They are exceptionally intelligent and gregarious birds. They'll even call out to notify other ravens about the feast. The white-tailed eagle is a loner. A curious young river otter is also after an easy meal. If desperate, it would eat carrion. But to an otter, there's nothing better than fresh caught fish. The mother is an expert. The young otter makes an attempt to catch one itself, with all good intentions. The fish is obviously not for sharing. After more than 13 months of care, the young otter is indeed capable of fending for itself. The mother demonstrates once again how it's done. Otters hunt small to medium-sized fish. Expert swimmers, they can hold their breath for more than 8 minutes. In winter, their playful behavior keeps the waters open, a service highly appreciated by other fish hunters. The harsh climate of the Alpine uplands creates life-threatening conditions for kingfisher. It can starve to death within a few days if it fails to catch enough fish. At a minimum, it needs 10 of these small fish daily to remain healthy. Their catch is swallowed whole, head first. Although the sun is still unable to break winter's grip, its rays manage to awaken life beneath the snow and ice. Snowdrops are the first to emerge. A protective sheath covers the fragile emerging blossom. While growing, their metabolism produces enough heat to melt the ice surrounding its roots. It's no wonder that this robust plant has become a symbol of spring. By February, the days are warmer and longer, thawing the brimstone butterfly out of hibernation. It takes its first drink of water in 7 months. Males emerge first to establish territory. The low temperatures don't seem to bother them. Everything, everywhere, remains frozen. And yet, there is life and movement in the most unlikely places. Water lilies. As the ice melts, they impatiently blossom. Patience is also not the beaver's fault, and water lilies are one of its favorite foods. Weighing up to 30 kilograms, it's the largest rodent in Europe and has no problem breaking through the thinning ice. The sun's warmth slowly melts the snow. Rising temperatures entice adders to come out from their den. The adder is well adapted to the cold. They sometimes move up the mountain to as high as 3,000 meters. But like any other snake, it loves to bask in the sun. Flattening the ribs to widen the body, it maximizes thermal absorption. The coltsfoot is one of the first flowers to provide pollen and nectar. These are vital early spring feeding grounds. Not only for the brimstone butterfly. Life begins to kick into gear and starts with the inconspicuous catkin. In March, pussy willow is a lifeline for bees. Loaded with their cargo of pollen, the bees return to their hive. Spring honey is in the making. Pasque flowers, yellow kingcaps, fragile windflowers, and many others color the landscape. They are all rare plants adapted to growing in nutrient-poor soil, common in the Bavarian uplands. Before mating, the brimstone butterflies engage in a dalliance flight. Moraines, drumlins, tarns, and lakes are all a product of the region's frozen past. Many are fully stocked with fish, a great opportunity for those with the right fishing technique. Success and survival are a matter of speed. The kingfisher must get out of the water before its feathers become too wet. Smaller than a human hand and weighing only 40 grams, the kingfisher eats up to 30 grams of fish a day. That's about 15 fishes that this little guy has to catch. On a clear, starry April night, the cold returns. Mouse-eared bats have occupied a tree hollow. All are males and are less susceptible to the cold. This image is captured with a special temperature-sensitive camera. Their body temperature ranges from 10 degrees centigrade during resting to about 40 degrees Celsius when active. Because insects are still in short supply, foraging for food can be dangerous, if not fatal. But this bat is motivated by hunger. It's come to a pond to hunt. Primed to attack any insects that moves, it navigates through the darkness using its ultrasonic echolocation. Mouse-eared bats can perceive fish swimming near the surface with pinpoint precision and have even been known to prey on them. A bat can eat more than half its weight in a night. With its hunger satiated, it returns to its hollow to sleep. The images from this special camera reveal the significant increase in body temperature caused by the activity. Now at rest, its metabolism slows down, saving as much energy as possible to make the meal last longer. The trees turn green and summer beckons, and the animal kingdom, having survived another winter, comes to life. It's time for them to get busy. The female brimstone butterfly has traveled far to this isolated patch of alder blackthorn. These are the sole species of plant that her larvae can survive on. Though she may live up to 12 months, she will not produce any other eggs. Two million years ago, everything here was covered in ice. Melting glaciers moved and shaped the land, leaving behind countless lakes and reshaping the landscape, which now serve as the hunting grounds of the osprey. These raptors arrived here in mid-April, migrating from the south. Not every attempt is successful. This airborne fishing expert is aiming for exactly the right size of fish. Osprey cannot carry fish weighing more than 300 grams. Returning to where he hatched, he has come to start a family of his own. Osprey had disappeared from Bavaria for the longest time. Now, 19 breeding pairs are breeding in the state. By 2 years old, they begin to breed, if they find a suitable nesting site. Where the river ammer meets the lake ammer, the kingfisher seeks a partner. His calls attracts the attention of a female. Neck-breaking aerial maneuvers are designed to impress. But the posturing is not meant to threaten. In a quiet bend of the river, the male has found a suitable steep wall to build a nest. When he stops digging, she takes over. Together, they tunnel about 80 centimeters, hollowing out a cauldron-shaped brood cavity at the end. The surrounding countryside with its gentle hills and meadows are typical of a landscape shaped by massive glaciers. The ridge behind the Staffelsee is also a typical glacial formation and is bordered by the most extensive marshland in the Alpine foothills, the Murnauer Moors. The forest edge is mouse territory. For them, this zone offers a balanced range of light, shelter and food. Seeds, nuts and berries are abundant here. But danger is never too far away. The adder takes its time. Her venom works fast and is deadly. Scenting with her tongue, she follows the mouse's trail. It's dead. She will eat the mouse whole, head first. The adder's venom is twice as potent as that of the diamondback rattlesnake found in the southwestern United States. To eat the mouse, the snake dislocates its jaw, and her flexible body can stretch twice its size. For snakes, eating requires enormous effort and puts it in a vulnerable position. She will only eat about 10 times a year. The rest of the time, she's either resting or digesting. Where the river Ammer flows into the Lake Ammer, different rules apply. Kingfishers only weigh 40 grams, and if they do not eat 20 grams of fish every day, they can starve very quickly. It's all about having the right speed and technique, even more so when there's no suitable perch to launch from. The kingfisher hovers above the water surface like a hummingbird. Having eyes that can function independently, they use one eye to locate the fish, and with the other eye, they can fade out the glare and reflection from the water, like polarizing sunglasses. As soon as it enters the water, a transparent protective eyelid covers the eye. A pit stop on the perch. The fish he's targeting needs to be less than 5 centimeters long. They aren't for him this time. After checking for trespassers and nearby predators, he heads to the nest. The female is also very busy. Her chicks hatched only days ago. With the fish aligned headfirst in her bill, she enters the nest cavity. Five blind, featherless chicks huddle together for warmth. Cold and confused, they are slow to notice the mother. She patiently offers the fish. Finally, a taker. and it's swallowed whole. Even at this early age, they can digest the bones and scales. With a dive into the water, she cleans her feathers of dirt and debris from the nest cavity. And then resumes fishing. Cleanliness is essential to kingfishers. A well-preened plumage is vital, and no feather can be out of place. After all, they've got 5 more mouths to feed. Having the right speed is the critical element for a successful catch. For the next 4 weeks, the parents will undertake over 50 trips per day to the nest cavity. An extraordinary demonstration of their dedication. The pair will raise at least 2 broods per season. There's often overlap, and while the female sits on the eggs, all hunting duties fall on the male. Both his partner and the hatchlings rely on a constant supply of fish. This delivery is again for the chicks. They eat up to 10 fish a day. Each portion is almost as big as the chick itself. Nestlings are fed in strict rotation. Whoever has been fed moves to the back so the next chick can be fed and everyone receives their quota of fish. Biologists call this a feeding carousel. The adults seldom have time for themselves. Formed from ice and shaped by rural life, there are always natural oases in the Alpine foothills. Sometimes it's just a bush, a tree, or a leaf, where a brimstone caterpillar has emerged. From May to June, its sole job is to eat, digest, and grow. After 7 weeks, the caterpillar stops eating. It's preparing to undergo one of nature's true miracles. Producing a thin, sticky silk thread, it anchors its abdomen to the leaf. Then the upper body is secured. Once a voracious caterpillar, it's about to undergo a massive transformation. And begins to pupate. For 2 weeks, it remains as a chrysalis. On the outside, it's completely motionless. Inside, a butterfly forms. Meanwhile, a new visitor from afar has discovered the wetland marshes of Oosterseen, the black stork. She migrated here earlier in the year from Africa to breed. And it's not only because of the large variety in the local cuisine. Armed with a long, spear-like bill, she patrols slowly through the shallow waters, jabbing at anything potentially edible. Meanwhile, her growing chicks luxuriate in the comfort of their nest and enjoy the 24/7 care and service she provides. They're about 2 weeks old and always hungry. Today's menu special: frogs. This mother, like all black storks, is very careful about where she raises her family. The good news is, new nesting sites are being created in Bavaria every year. Wetlands play an essential role in the environment. Close to the Staffelsee is the most extensive moor region in Bavaria, the Murnauer Moors. A white-tailed eagle has perched high in a tree in osprey territory. With a wingspan of only 150 centimeters, the osprey is at a disadvantage. But where he lacks in size, he gains in speed and agility and aggression. The white-tailed eagle is after the osprey's chicks. The female, being larger than her mate, stays back with the chicks as the second line of defense. Both adults share in parenting and protection of their offspring, and they will alternate hunting and guarding duties. Their parenting lasts about 55 days, after which the chicks will be ready to fend for themselves. From wetlands and lakes to meadows and forests, evolution and change is everywhere. The brimstone butterfly is ready to emerge from its chrysalis. The new generation begins to emerge at the end of June. It's perfectly timed to coincide with the blossoming of flowers in the wild meadows and wet grasslands. And they prefer purple flowering plants. Brimstone butterflies have the longest lifespan of all butterflies in Europe, and the most unusual life history. For 2 weeks, they stay on the wing, drinking as much nectar as possible. Then, with enough nutrients stored in their body, they go into a brief hibernation. It's a survival strategy that enables them to bypass the extreme summer heat and droughts. And by early August, they return to the wing. In this unusual way, the brimstone butterfly can save energy by reducing its metabolism and can sometimes live an unprecedented 12 months. The young black storks have grown significantly, and their first black feathers have already come through on the head and wings. They've been waiting patiently for one of their parents to return. As soon as she arrives, the commotion begins. And they receive exactly what they want. The larger the chicks grow, the more food the doting parents have to bring. It's an endless task without many breaks. The weather throughout the foothills of the Alpine region is strongly influenced by the mountains. They play an essential role to producing rain clouds that supply the watershed. By forcing warm air to rise to altitude, it cools and precipitation is created. These Bavarian Alpine foothills are some of the wettest regions in Germany. For the black stork, poor water visibility temporarily stops all fishing operations. A lucky stab, and she's one fish closer to meeting the day's quota. But she needs more than a little bit of luck to keep her growing chicks fed. As the new day dawns, a calmness fills the Bavarian woodlands. The young white-tailed eagle has yet to establish a territory of his own. Patiently sitting, sometimes for hours, he looks for prey. Waiting for the right moment. Too difficult. He spots an easier target in the water. A floating dead eel. He's not fuzzy. An easy meal is better than no meal. The summer drought has evaporated much of the water in this pond. Small fish are exposed and vulnerable. Easy prey for the kingfisher. He has a family of growing chicks waiting to be fed. They are almost the same size as him now, with an insatiable appetite. For the past 3 weeks, all they have been doing is eating, sleeping, and growing. As night falls over the pond, another creature awakens in the shadows. The Daubenton's bat, roosting by day in its tree hollow, it launches into the night. Its ultrasonic echolocation detects movement on, above, and under the water surface. Anything is fair game for this opportunistic insect predator. Under the surface, fish also compete for the same meal. It's first come, first served. Every night, the bat must eat 10 grams of insects, about 1/3 of their body weight. As another sunny day returns, so too does the relentless summer heat. The black stork journeys back from the pond to her nest, bringing much-needed fresh food and water. The chicks, still confined to their nest, are hungry and hot. Black storks don't sweat, but cool themselves by panting, much like dogs. The mother lands on the edge of the nest. With hardly any room left, they will have soon outgrown their home. Until then, the supply of food will continue to arrive every 2 or 3 hours. They each now require 1 kilo of food daily. At the Lake Amma, the kingfisher chicks have fledged and can now fly. They quickly learn to become independent after 2 days of not being fed by their parents. There's no time for practice runs. Those that don't learn quickly will not survive their first year. Diving at the right speed and with precision is the key to survival. Success will naturally follow. The kingfisher's feathers are like any other bird's, but if the kingfisher stays submerged for too long and the feathers become soaked, they run the risk of drowning. Another successful catch. With time, the young kingfishers become experienced hunters. However, 80% of fledglings do not survive past their first year. Kingfishers are incredibly territorial, and the juveniles are continuously being driven away. Especially by their parents. After all, the next clutch of hungry chicks is already in the nest cavity. It's the end of August in the Alpine foothills. Another year has passed. It's that time of year for farewells and new beginnings. The green trees change leaf colors to autumn reds and yellows. Osprey and black stork are preparing for their long migration south. Autumn's fog and grey skies shroud the landscape. By the end of October, as the days become even shorter and colder, the adder begins its search for a den to overwinter in. Somewhere safe, where she won't be disturbed for the next 7 months. This opening leads to the perfect den site. Deep underground and shared with other snakes. Above ground, the brimstone butterfly prepares to hibernate for a second time. It won't be long before the frost arrives. Next spring, the brimstone butterfly will be the first butterfly to re-emerge. Crystals cling to the frozen reeds, but still the pond remains ice-free. The otters have been out all night foraging. And it's time to return to their burrow near the water's edge. Grooming is an integral part of the otter's daily routine and ensures that the outer top coat guard hairs remain waterproof and the insulating undercoat stays dry throughout the winter. Swans must keep flying until they find open water. Even in the bitter cold, this kingfisher continues its hunt. Plunging into an opening in the ice is a dangerous tactic. But without this life-preserving hole, made by a helping hand, its fate would be sealed. Hard, long winters can kill the whole population in a single area. A decline by more than 90% is sometimes not uncommon. Every dive carries the risk of death. Its wet claws can even freeze to the perch. Even the smallest patch of ice on its wing can render it flightless. In spite of the odds, kingfishers brave the dangerous dive at least twice an hour. Wintertime poses some of the most significant challenges to the kingfisher's survival. And still, this little bird masters its life in the landscape born from ice and snow.